So, three-phase converter from single-phase electrics. So, standard 13 amp 240 volt, and then it basically runs into a control unit. It's got a three-phase 10 horsepower motor, and then it's got a second three-phase motor that's underneath the cradle that's another 3 horsepower. So the electric's going in as 240. It goes through capacitors, switch relays, and then basically converts from the single phase to three phase. I'll show you what it looks like inside the panel. It's quite complicated, but if you've got a bit of an idea with electrics. So it's got trip for the 3 horsepower motor, a trip for the 10 horsepower motor, a main trip for everything. Then it's got 2 trips for the plugs coming out, which one's running single phase, one's running 3 phase. So take the panel off. So the way it works, it's got, as I say, the 240 volt coming into here. The 240 volt goes into these 2 switch contactors. They start the motor up on single phase using start relays, start capacitor. It's got timer relays here, which are turning the capacitors in and out. When it starts up, this will kick in for there's a timeout relay that will switch off. Then it runs single phase on this, then it'll switch on to this one on its own. At that point it's running on 240 volt. When I switch it over, it'll switch on to these 2, which are then running on 415 volt. I'm not going to try and go through all of it, how it all works at the moment, but you can basically see, as I start it up, you'll see what's happening with it. You'll see that these timer relays kick in, and you'll see that these come in and drop out. So turn the power on. So at the moment it's showing there's 240 volts coming in, no amps at the moment. So it's got to be on the 240 volt side to start. Press the start. So that's just kicked in and switched on to running single phase on 240 volt. There's no load on it. It's running at 0.8 amps. So at that I can start a 3-phase motor. The 3-phase motor at the moment will only be running on 2 phase. So running at 1.3 amp. Stop that. Press this and switch over. It's not been fast enough on that. So now we're running on 415. I've switched over now onto, sorry, that's 415 volt, running on 415 volt. These 2 are switched out. And when I start the motor up now, it'll kick these in. So that's now running on 415. Pulling 2.4 amps. You'll see it's got a current switch on here and another timer relay, so when I switch that power on, they'll turn this on, which turns the capacitors on to start up. So start it again. And then if for any reason I drop electrics at any time, once the power's dropped, if I put it back to 415, nothing will work. So it'll only start up on the 240. That should have dropped out anyway. Turn it back on now, nothing will work until I put that back over.